Gojo finally released as he faces two of the strongest fighters ever, Kenjaku and Sukuna. It doesn't get more hype than this, so make sure to stay tuned for this insane chapter. Smash that like button like Gojo smashed through that seal if you want to see more Jujutsu Kaisen videos on the channel. Make this the video you join the Jujutsu fam by subscribing and hitting that notification bell to turn on all notifications so you don't miss future JJK videos and updates. So straight into the chapter, and we straight up have the narrator hyping us up, letting us know that it is time to let Gojo loose with, of course, 2 exclamation marks. But before that, we get some lead up to that epic moment. By the way, this chapter is called Gain and Loss, but I think we all know Gojo showing up is more gain than loss. But who knows, with Sukuna in Megumi's body, the losses might be heavy too. So it starts with Yuji and friends talking about the seal in front of them with Gojo in it. Angel asks if they are planning on releasing Gojo here, and Yuji is like, yeah, can't we? I like the joke brought up that it's a bit of a dull place for a homecoming, and they could try adding interlock to rings. So funny. But Angel soon explains that that's not what she meant. We then learn a bit about how time flows in the sealed prison realm, so how it might have flowed for Gojo, and it's interesting stuff. We're told it is said time does not flow within the prison realm, so whatever is trapped inside will not die due to starvation or old age. So that's the good news. The prisoner will live indefinitely unless they end their own life. An interesting detail, but we know Gojo wouldn't do that. But of course, it's not that simple. It never is. We're told it can't just be used as a time machine. Because there's no concept of physical time, it is impossible for them to know how Gojo has perceived the last 19 days since Halloween. It could have felt like a blink of an eye, but at the same time, it's possible it could have felt like 100 years or even more. A very interesting detail, so at least in terms of the 100 years alternative, there is the fear that Gojo's mental state could be messed up right now. Since he's the strongest sorcerer of the current generation, if he's in mental disarray, undoing the seal in a narrow space like the room they are in could be very dangerous. Yuji admits that when you put it that way, it sounds really dangerous, and bonus points to the mangaka for how this panel is illustrated. I love it. Gojo Godzilla for the win. If anything deserves a smash of that like button, it's Gojo Godzilla. So they find a wide open space, and as we've known for a while, Angel is gonna be the one to undo the seal. It's fitting that an angel will be the one to bring back humanity's only remaining hope. So it happens, and at first there's a joke because it disappears and people start to think that maybe when the back of the prison realm is exposed to Angel's curse technique, Gojo is wiped from existence. It's so bleak and hilarious that I love it. I love the comedy in this series, I must say. Angel comes in defending herself, saying, hey, maybe Gojo is evil, so he disappeared when exposed to Angel Light. So it's not Angel's fault, right? And to be fair, Gojo's personality has some evil to it, as some people point out. But of course, as the narrator told us, things go according to plan, and Gojo is released this chapter, and it's crazy. The characters realize this is happening when they feel an earthquake. The prison realm, it's revealed, was placed at the subduction zone 8,000 meters below the surface in the Japan Trench. That in and of itself is crazy hype. Cursed spirits were even placed to act as sensors beneath the multiple layers of seals over top. And there is no break. We go from this to the same page being Kenjaku face to face with Gojo. Gotta respect the lack of filler here. From release to facing the main bad guys immediately. Kenjaku says Tengen told him all about the back after being absorbed, and supposedly even if the seal were somehow broken, Gojo would perish too. But that's of course not the case. And we see Gojo there in what we can only imagine would be accompanied by the most epic music in the anime itself, so can't wait for this part to be animated. Kenjaku asks how in the world he did it, and we see Gojo's face, which in and of itself is so hype after he's been sealed away for so long. I didn't even realize how much I missed Gojo until I saw his face right here. I love Kenjaku's sense of humor too though. He says it's been a long time since you were truly able to relax, so he asks how was it, as if he did Gojo a favor by sealing him and giving him some time to relax. I feel like I laughed more than the average person during this chapter, but man, there were a lot of funny parts. Gojo then responds in epic fashion. He says, hey, you should choose your words more carefully after all. They will be your last. So cool. But Gojo is interrupted by Sukuna, who, as we know, is in Megumi's body right now. Gojo immediately notices, saying, you've changed quite a bit since the last time I saw you, Megumi. This, of course, adds another factor to the fight. Not only is Gojo facing two of the strongest bad dudes ever, he has to think about how he's fighting Megumi's body, someone very important to him and who has been very important to him for a very long time. One of the things I really like about this chapter is how it brings back past statements that we might have already forgotten about by now, but are super relevant right now. Like Sukuna, for example, brings up when he said, after I take this brat's body for myself, you'll, meaning Gojo, will be the first person I kill. Sukuna reasserts that he'll kill Gojo here. The hype is just off the charts, man. People always talk Gojo versus Sukuna as the most hype matchup, and it's happening right now before our eyes. Gojo is still having fun talking smack, and you gotta love it. He says to Sukuna, you? A loser that had to run away from Yuji? Coming with your tail between your legs is pretty pathetic. After Gojo deals with the fodder in record time, Kenjaku comes in telling Sukuna to wait. He says he has to make good on his promise to him first. Gojo, as lighthearted and hilarious as ever, frames this as the great Sukuna nicely obeying instructions from his mommy. While to himself, Gojo thinks there are some things he would like to take care of before the fight as well. He'd like to give Suguru's body a proper burial, and he thinks, who would have thought Sukuna got so close to the person inhabiting him? He can't help but think what a pain it is. And it makes sense because these are two very powerful dudes tag teaming. Sukuna perhaps surprisingly shows patience and says that's fine with him. Postponing the fight seems to work for everyone. Or at least that's the way it seems at the moment. Gojo hilariously asks, man, what day is it even? And he's told it's November 19th. He asks how about they do it 24th of December. If you didn't know, Christmas in Japan is the most romantic day of the year. Don't ask me why, I don't know, but yeah, Christmas is a time for romance, dates, and even marriage proposals in Japan. So with this in mind, it's not surprising Kenjaku says, ha 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 ha, how romantic. Having a date with you, meaning Gojo, on Christmas Eve gives me the creeps. While Gojo says having two death anniversaries will make things complicated, no? Kenjaku smiles and asks, you think you can win? While Gojo drops a pfft, oozing that trademark Gojo confidence that we all love so much. And then again, as I mentioned, we get an earlier conversation brought up here because it is super relevant now. And it's one of the most hyped statements that was brought up ever in the series. It's when Sensei Gojo was asked who's stronger, full strength Sukuna or Gojo. And Gojo, remember, said it would be a tad difficult, but he would win. And now we get a full page of his epic face reaffirming that he will win, as he says. The narrator says a declaration of victory right after his comeback, with of course 2 exclamation marks again, and we expect nothing less of Gojo, the man, the myth, the legend. After that hiatus, we all know he'll deliver in epic fashion. However, the story won't make it too easy for sure, so we're definitely in for some suspense and epic battles. Let me know, who do you think will win, Gojo or Sukuna combined with Kenjaku? If any tag team stands a chance against Gojo, it has to be this one. And if you're interested in the other strongest sorcerers in JJK like Gojo and including Gojo, then you won't want to miss our all special grade sorcerers and their powers explained video. Link on screen to that right now and in the description. See you there.